How do you start a business with no money? Well, you know what? I've done it, and I'm going to tell you exactly how to do it, and it's easier than you might think. All right, so if you're looking at starting a business with no money, it's very possible, but it's not a get-rich-quick scheme. I've explored a fair number of those, and I have yet to find one that actually lands. They're really good at selling courses or getting people to buy their product or their junk, but rarely does it really work out well. However, if you're willing to put in the effort, do the research, make the phone calls, it's completely possible to start a business with no money or very, very little money. So I've actually done this with multi-million-dollar storage facilities. I've done this with all sorts of different online businesses. So there's a lot of different ways to do it. And we're going to go through the specific steps, but I'm going to give you 5 specific steps that you can do on ways that you can get started right out of the gate. As entrepreneurs and business owners, we know that if we have a clear plan, anything becomes possible. And if you can have a clear plan, a clear process to create that plan, and a way to create clarity with your partner or spouse, you can drive to amazing heights. Okay, so you're like, look, how do I start a business with no money? Well, a lot of it is going to come down to how much sweat equity are you willing to put into it. Now, sweat equity means equity is the value of something that's within the business. How much research? What are you going to add? What can you bring? How much can you go through to create relationships, partnerships, understanding so that you're really clear on what it is when you get ready to start the business. And to do that, you need to build a solid business plan. It's not that hard, and think of a business plan as basically a skeleton of outline. Think of it as a skeleton you start with, and then you start asking lots of questions, and you just keep putting meat on the bone. You fill out that skeleton. So to start with, you need to come up with some sort of a plan. What is the plan? What is the product or service that you do? And with this, I really encourage that you start with the end in mind. What is the ideal life you'd like first? And then think about that and back into what would be the business that fits best with that ideal life. We talk a lot about that and how to build the plan, how to build a whole team of strategic advisors in our books and on the courses at aspiringsolopreneur.com. But to start with, you're wanting to know, dude, I just want to know right off the bat, what are some ways that I can actually start the business without money? Well, you need to make it a no-brainer. You need to do a bunch of research and figure out what the structures and things like that are, and we tell you how. But let's just hit high level some ways that you could potentially create relationships. So if you decide, hey, I'm really good at whatever it is, certain product, service, something like that, you're going to be looking for champions. You're going to be looking for partners. You're going to be looking for people that you can help in ways that is a no-brainer for them. It's super easy. There's no exposure. And you can make them money, and as a result, you can start making money for yourself. So one simple way is if you can do all the research on something and find out, wow, this is a really good deal. This is going to work, and you have a contract in hand. Well, there's different things that you can do with that contract. So let me give you an example. Like I said, I've done storage facilities. They're not very sexy, but they're good little money machines. I've gone through and done a tremendous amount of research in a certain area, and there's actually other videos on this channel that talk specifically about this. But basically go through and find out, where is there a strong opportunity for a storage facility? What are the other facilities around look like? What is the zoning like? What are all these different pieces like? And go through and figure it all out. And basically realize, yeah, actually, if I could get a hold of this piece of ground over in this area, I know what it's going to cost to build all these other pieces. I can actually maybe even get that piece of ground under contract. Now, in some cases, in a big deal like that, you may have to put some money in. I think I put 10 grand in in a refundable deposit that I was able to control that piece of ground. But within that, I had a contract that said, yes, I will, as the seller of this ground, sell you this piece of property. Okay, cool. So we're able to get that, but then I also had a whole separate set of documents that I had gone through and researched and created and found out what the market studies were like and what the market conditions and everything that was there. And it's like, wow, yeah, this is what the market looks like, this is what it's going to cost to build, and I control this piece of ground. So the fact that I had that contract, when you have that contract, and you have all that other materials, and it's like, God, yeah, this is a great deal. Well, it used to be you could take that to a bank, and the bank would go, yeah, wow, this is a great deal. We'll give you the money. Because I walked in literally to millions in equity by having it, because it's like, well, if I buy it here and I do this here, and it's going to take me a year and a half to fill it up, but it's going to be worth $5 million at the end, and I only need $3 million for now. They're like, okay, that makes sense. And they were good with it because we were able to get appraisals and all the way through. You can do that on a lot smaller levels. You can go through, for buying and contracting different types of products or services or things like that. And if you control the contract and then you go find somebody who really wants it, you can either sell that contract, or maybe you can borrow money as an interim to hold the money and then transition it over. So that's one high level way of doing it. Another way that you can do it is sometimes if you have a product or service, you're a solopreneur, and you're just getting started, and maybe you're willing to go and we talk about how you do your market analysis, talk with other people, and like, look, I'm really good at this particular piece, and you find somebody who's like, yeah, I don't really like doing that. Then you know what, kid, I'd be happy to farm that out to you. Cool, great, that'd be wonderful. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're gonna give you, maybe they may give you full market rate, they may wanna give you a discount. But if you say, look, if you gave me a 20% discount, would you give me the first month up front so I can get this started? You would be amazed at how many people will do that up front if you have a good convincing story, you have the experience around those, whatever product or service that may be. They're willing, a lot of people are willing to do that because it helps them, and if they can find a great reliable contractor that they can subcontract to, really, really helpful. Now, another possible way is the idea around consignment. I've seen this, not the greatest example, but if you happen to be really, really good at knowing how to sell and market and present stuff on eBay, you may be able to say, look, hey, tell you what, you start letting the word out, or maybe you go to a thrift shop that doesn't do any of those kinds of things or whatever, say, look, I'll tell you what, let me start taking these things, and I will put them on there, and I'll put them on a consignment basis, or you give them to me, things that you want, and you give it to me, and I will consign, and I'll put it up on eBay, and when it sells, I'll take care of sending it off and all this, and we'll split the profits 50-50, something like that. But you're able to do that, you're trading your time, so you're not having to put a lot of money into it, if any. Now, another way is sometimes you can even be a broker. So a consignment is basically where you control the product. Somebody gives you the product, you sell it, once it's sold, then you give them their proceeds. You can be a broker where maybe somebody's already got something, a product or service out there, but you happen to know a different way of doing it, a different industry, a different way of getting in there. And you say, look, I will sell your service, and I tell you what, I just want 20% of anything I get as a fee of doing that. So if you're selling a course or cars, or who knows what it is. But if you happen to have a special set of relationships, or you've got ins with other people in a certain way, say, look, yeah, you let me have it and you own it, it's all yours, but if I bring people to you, then I get a commission, a brokerage commission on the back end. Again, doesn't cost you anything but your legwork and making sure you're doing the calls and doing the outreach. And then the last way is sometimes, and this is what a lot of people push, and candidly it's hard to do, but sometimes you can create your own product or service that doesn't cost anything, and you can leverage it out. But I can tell you, I've done multiple books. Books are a great way to make tens of dollars. It's a nice vanity thing, but this one particularly I really believe has value and helps people. And we're able to leverage this up in the courses, and it's there, but it's taken a lot of time and energy to get there. It hasn't cost a tremendous amount of money, but it's taken a lot of time. So again, that's where if you have the time to trade and you have a unique skill, maybe it's something that can work for you. All right, so once you start figuring these things out though, you're gonna have to go back and you're gonna have to really flesh out the entire business plan. Build your strategic team of advisors. You can do this for free. This is a great small business accountant, small business attorney, small business banker, small business insurance person, and they can help you build this. And again, we talk about all this in the courses on how to do it. Once you do that, it's also going to help you identify how are you going to start, what does the first 6 months look like. Now this is the biggest key. when you do it, when you agree to partner with somebody on these things, you have to knock their socks off. You have to do great work. When you do really, really quality work, it's going to lead to other referrals. It'll lead to more work. You're going to learn more about it. So maybe on the first 2 or 3, maybe you don't make a ton of money, but you get started. That's the thing, is you're learning so much more, and that's where the real value comes in. So ideally you found some value. If you did, please subscribe, like, check out some of the other videos on here. If you have questions, you're always welcome to reach out at aspiringsolopreneur.com. Keep smiling.